Cracking down on one of the county's greatest issues and preventing kids from committing crimes before they end up serving time.
23 News reporter Jake Pearson talks to Winnebago County officials about two new initiatives coming to the state line in 2024.
The names of the projects passed unanimously by the Winnebago County Board are long, but leaders are hoping the wait will be short on when state line youth can see the impact of the Project Safe Neighborhoods initiative and the Violent Crime Reduction in Illinois Communities program.
The board, they don't want to ever lose sight of the fact that we shouldn't do one or the other, that we should be doing both. It shouldn't be just youth, it shouldn't be just adults.
Projects to help rehabilitate and assist former offenders readjust to life after incarceration and prevent kids exposed to violence from entering a life of crime.
The work that they do, accompanied with the work that is being done, I'm going to tell you, it just doesn't get any better.
The Winnebago County Board passes two new grants focused on preventing crime in the state line.
We can applaud our YMCA for stepping up to the plate and doing the work. It's really, really needed.
One grant headed to the state line in 2024 is the Project Safe Neighborhoods initiative. Teaming up with the YMCA of Rock River Valley, the program targets kids ages 7 to 17 who have witnessed or been victims to domestic or sexual violence.
This is to provide them with the resources that they need before they end up in the system, to address the trauma before it becomes a problem.
Helping former offenders get a start on their life again after prison. That's what the Violent Crime Reduction in Illinois Communities program was created for.
If we can rehabilitate individuals so they don't go back on the streets and commit crimes, and we have a true obligation to get them to that point for the people within our community that truly need those services.
Project Safe Neighborhoods is a nationwide initiative launched in 2001 and is coordinated by U.S. attorneys' offices in 94 federal judicial districts across all 50 states.
Thank you, Jake. YMCA leaders say they will be picking up where the Family Peace Center left off, transferring their work to create a smooth transition.
The Peace Center terminated their agreement with the county after they felt they were balancing too many projects.